Hi, this is Professor Weingart talking to you about written exams, your midterm and final for our course HPA 400. Now, we believe in public health and prevention, right? So if I tell you that there are ways that you can avoid avoidable mistakes that we have noticed people do or make, you'd like that, right? Because we believe in prevention. So let's avoid the avoidables and let's review what some of those are. We don't get any pleasure from, we don't say gotcha when we find that somebody has made an avoidable mistake. So we really want to help you boost your performance on the exam. So one of the things that can be avoided is under-organized writing. That sometimes we forget what we all know, which is that it's important to start with a topic sentence and then to have a paragraph do a certain amount of work on that topic sentence, and then to use the last sentence of that paragraph to either transition to the next thought or to close that thought off. Now, why am I telling you such a Mickey Mouse thing that you learned so many years ago? Because expression, it turns out, is how it helps us distinguish your comprehension. We may not know what you know unless you've been able to express it in a way that communicates it well. So some of these tips, some of these avoidable mistakes you may think are simple, but I wouldn't be saying them if we hadn't seen them. The other thing is that sometimes there's writing that is too general or indistinct, or that is written with an air of from 50,000 feet and an imperfect and an imperious kind of voice, on which it is imperative that those things don't add any value. Just speak, write simply and powerfully. Now, there are all sorts of guides. You can have written guides or guides on the internet that are really helpful to remind us of what makes strong writing. I really recommend that you consult the online writing lab at Purdue University, and the URL is www.purdue.edu, and that site has hundreds of layers. It's a very complex and rich site, all about writing. And it also contains, which we want you to attend to very much, things like how to avoid plagiarism, how to cite properly, how to make sure your writing is logical, how to deal with certain types of questions. And so we really hope that you'll consult both the syllabus, which is your #1 guide, and a guide such as this OWL site can provide. There's something that happens particular to our exams, and that is that our exam questions, especially this one, the first few questions, they're very short, and they may be seen as pretty simplistic. Well, they're just asking me the definition of stuff. Well, think of all these smart people who've been teaching you for the last several weeks, and how we tend to have pretty elaborated thoughts on any old topic. When we ask you a simple question, you can be pretty sure that we think that there's a whole lot to that question. So in other words, it's a deceptively simple question. You have to question the question. You have to look at the question and say, well, these are smart people, and I have a lot of readings, and we've really gone over a lot of this, so I know that they don't want me just to spew back what I've already written in weekly postings. So what does this question really want? And you need to try on a few different answers to that. Do they want me, for example, we use the word compare. Or will the instruction will be to analyze the relationship among this and that. Well, there's certain questions that should occur to you about analyzing a relationship, and these do have to do with the fundamentals about how if this phenomenon is happening this way, that might mean that this thing would be going in this direction, etc. You want to give your developed and detailed and elaborated thought. The other kind of preventable problem, avoidable mistake that happens, it's that sometimes people don't really read the entire question. Now, we're very devious. We put clauses into the question. A question might have 3 clauses. One of them might be joined by an and, saying, tell me about this, and while you're telling me about this, make sure you focus on this and this. Well, sometimes people will get very wrapped up in the first part and will forget, or whatever, that we've also asked them to do these other 2 things. And this will can sink you. You can end up giving a very superficial kind of answer without having understood what was really being asked of you. A lot of our exams revolve around spending time with the question. Analysis is important, and understanding all the aspects of what's being asked of you is very important. But so is concision, and this is where organization comes in. From your elaborated understanding to your precise expression, you are finding the most direct and concise route. So your language has to be strong, precise, and not mushy. Okay, what I'm going to do is to give you some written materials. I will post some guidance which I hope you'll use to supplement this video, and I'll give you a few references that I think you might find useful. And if you have questions, please ask them in the appropriate place on the discussion board. Thank you.